Well, hello, everybody. This is Lisa Huck and my dear girl. I call her Boob, Boobs, or Boob, or Boo, or Boo Boo. We're
Hello.
here. We're, we're here to continue our exploration of body mechanics, and we're starting at the foot. And we did some work last week that I want to review a little bit and expound upon. The foot is an amazing. Let me grab my foot real quick. Oh, did I? Oh, my foot's right here. Okay, so the foot's an amazing part of the body. And it's probably the most complicated, I think, part of the body that we have because it actually has 26 different bones. And like the creator could have chosen to make this piece right here all one bone, or make this one bone, but there's a reason why there's so many bones. And the reason that is because it allows for a very diverse number of articulations for when that foot hits the ground. And then normally, like in years ago, we were walking on uneven surfaces. So in order for that person not to be going cattywampus with their body, the foot is what makes the adjustment. But what happens for a few different reasons is that our foot gets dumb, stuck, and weak. Okay, let me explain what that is. Stuck because the bones actually start to get stuck together. There becomes little micro adhesions between the bones, and then those bones can't do their little fine articulation. One of the reasons why that happens is because we put our feet in shoes, and they get pushed and compressed into this tomb, into this coffin, and the bones don't get that much movement, so they start to stick together. So then what happens is the muscles that are controlling the foot that get flow and good stuff in, bad stuff out, good stuff being oxygen, nutrients, heat, vital force, energy force, life force, and fluids. The way that's pumped in is through movement. But if our foot is stuck in a coffin of a shoe, then you're not getting a lot of movement through the muscles. So those muscles start to get like beef jerky. They get dense and they get weak. So now you've got you got a stuck and a weak foot. Now when you've got that, we start to get less connected. The brain disconnects from that part. We get a dumb, stuck, weak foot, a foot that's not even responding to the brain. So what we do in our three-dimensional dynamic method is we bring back the foot. We bring the foot back to life. We reconnect it. We break up the adhesions and we strengthen the muscles in the foot. Now, I want to show you real quick that the foot is intimately involved with the rest of the body, and it communicates with the rest of the joints. Can you see the bottom of this one?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a quick thing that's an eye-opener for most people is that we've got three major parts of our body that is actually built and engineered for rotation. The foot is the first part that's built to rotate. If you look at the foot, there's a bone in the foot that if I show it to you, it's really round.
Can you hold it up and put it to the camera? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's to the camera. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So there's a round part. You can see that roundness to the foot, that bone. Whenever there's roundness, that implies that there's going to be rotation. So that round part, that joint's called the subtalar joint. What that joint is, it partners with the round bone of the hip. We've got a foot that's designed and engineered to rotate, and we've got a hip that's not designed and engineered to rotate, and then we have a thoracic spine that's designed and engineered to rotate. Now, interestingly enough, and this is not just coincidence, this is design, the joints in between, so that the knee and then the lower back, those are literally not designed to rotate. The bones are not designed to rotate very much. They're able to rotate a bit, but not very much. What happens is if your foot doesn't rotate very much, and then the hip, because the foot's tight, it will lose its rotation as well. And because we sit and we round over our phones and computers and driving, the thoracic spine, which is designed to rotate too, loses its rotation. So Our modern ways, our modern habits encourage the parts that were designed to rotate to lose their rotation. So then the parts who weren't designed to rotate get chewed up. And the wear and tear over time injures those parts. So you see a lot of knee injuries, lower back injuries, and neck injuries from people. And that is so surmountable. And that's what one of the things we're excited about teaching people is to show people that through basic three-dimensional movement, it's not rocket science, we can restore proper mechanics to restore proper function and communication to the whole body. And then we get flow. And then this vessel, this container that we've been gifted with is in harmony and it's not getting a lot of noise through pain. Noise meaning distraction. We already have enough distraction in our life. So what we're going to do is I wanted to show you a little bit about, I want to explain a little bit about Erica's foot. Honey, will you stand up for me? And just stand in front of the camera and then go back just a tad so that I can see your feet a little bit. Look at how cute she is. Okay, so it's the left, her left foot is the one that tends to be, has had the sort of mechanical issue. And what happens is when you go to squat, you feel sort of a pinch in that left front ankle. Is that correct?
Yes, because I can squat a lot more on this side. And
Yeah,
this side
so
is hinged. It won't go further than that.
so what, right through there. Okay, so what happens is then you want to lift your heel, right? It makes you want to lift your heel.
Yeah.
To get low. Yeah, like that. Okay. So one of the things that we did to help offset that is we, excuse me, I'm just getting really important. Okay. One of the things that we did is we put a small wedge under the front of her foot to compensate for that tightness in her ankle so that the rest of her body doesn't keep getting beat up by the foot not being able to do its job. And so so she can continue getting proper activation from the foot up, proper stimulation, proper chewing from the joint below that talks all the way to all the joints above. So that's in the meantime so that she can get proper movement. But then what we're doing is we're working at opening up, unsticking, reactivating, and cracking open that foot. So then we're addressing the symptom and addressing the problem at the same time. And that's one thing that we're always going to be doing no matter whether we're working with the body, the mind, or the spirit. Like when Erica works with you with your any issue you're having in your life, she's going to get down to the root causes of those problems and pull those roots from the roots and replace them with Creator's ideal. And so it's real. What we do is it's the same template, but we're working with the body, the mind, and the spirit. So it's super cool stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this tool. That's a brilliant tool. It's called a Yamana foot waker, and you can get this on Amazon. You can also use a tennis ball. That works as well. I really like this one. What I'm going to suggest is that these are pretty hard barefooted, so we're going to keep a sock on to just give a little bit of like a cushion. And then if that's too hard for a person, put on 2 pairs of socks or cut up a little piece of a yoga mat and put a yoga mat on there, because this is pretty harsh. And it should never be too harsh. One of our filters in anything we do is willingness. Is the body willing to do it? If it's not willing, it's too much. We don't want to bully the body. Okay, let's go ahead and stand up. Take off your shoes if you have them on, and we're going to get started. I just need, so I'm getting an emergency text, and I'm just going to chuck that real quick. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to use these foot wakers. I like to go ahead and, can you see me? Yeah, you can see. Okay, we're going to start off and we're going to separate the foot into 3 main portions. Right here in the center is right where your arch is. Then we've got your heel, and then we've got your forefoot, like where the ball of the foot is. And what we're going to do is I like for people to hold on just so that they're not having to balance. You're going to place the arch of your foot on the Yamana foot waker, and then you're just going to put some pressure down and then release the pressure. Pressure down and release the pressure. And let's continue with that as I talk. So what this is doing is this is compressing and decompressing. It's stimulating all the nerves. Think about the foot. It has, you may have heard about the Chinese map of the hand, the foot, the ear. These nerves in the foot correlate with all the different organs in our body. So if you've got a stuck foot, you probably have stuck areas in your body that are correspond with those parts of the foot. So we're just gonna pump and release, and it brings a bunch of blood flow. It breaks up little fascial adhesions. At first, if it's too hard, what I want to coach you to do is don't put that much weight. So only put as much weight as it feels comfortable. So I'm taking one foot off and then putting one foot back down. My other foot is coming off the ground and coming back down, but I may just lean on it. Like on one of my feet, I can't take all my weight because it hurts, and you never want to go too hard where it hurts. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to the heel of the foot. We'll do little pumps. We just pump and release. Now, you can also do this, like I said, with a tennis ball. You can also do this sitting. So what I love about these little foot wakers is that you could be at the desk and you can just lay your foot on there, because there's little nipples on that half round, and it pushes into the flesh, and it's like a deep tissue massage for the foot. So this would be synonymous to foam rolling for the foot, okay? Now let's go ahead and go to the ball of the foot. I'm gonna just put some pressure and come on down. And what's gonna happen is at first, this hurts, but over time, if you're consistent, the adhesions are going to be broken up, and it's gonna start to feel better and better, into the point where it just, you sort of crave it. Now, when you get tenderness through a tissue, what that means is that that tissue is lacking in nutrients or fluids. So that it gives off pain. So that's an indication, it's the check engine light, that it needs attending to, it needs attention. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to go to the forward end of the arch, just behind the ball. Now be really gentle, because that can be very tender for people. I don't know where you're gonna hit your tenderness, but everybody does someplace. So just never assume and go too hard. Go gently and progressively. So I'm giving it maybe about 5 pumps. Now, you could do 10, you could do 20, whatever you have time for. Now I'm gonna go to the opposite end of the arch. I'm gonna go from the heel, between the heel and the arch, to the back end of the arch, and I'm gonna go there. One of the things that you'll be doing over time, if you take up this activity, is that you'll be sort of looking for the spot in your foot that is more tender, and then you can give that spot more attention. Now, if it's so tender that it hurts to take the other foot off the ground, then you do more repetitions with less weight, okay? So be kind. Okay, let's stop there. Let's switch feet. We're gonna go right to the middle, so the arch. So I changed my mind. I'm gonna break the foot into 5 parts. So right now, we're right in the center. We're right at the arch. And what's a nice idea is to notice the difference between the feet. It's always good for you to notice the difference between the sides. To notice, is it more tender? Does it feel less connected? Does it feel heavier? Does it feel weaker? Anything that you can pick up, any data. See, I'm constantly asking questions from people, because what that does is it cues them to go inward to get the information to give you the answer. And what that's doing for the person is creating a communication. It's creating a relationship with your body where you're starting to read what the body is saying. You're collecting data. And that's a really useful method in how to care for the body properly. Okay, let's go to the ball of the foot. And that feels so good. My left foot, I'm right-legged. Many people, most people I think are right-sided. So that means their left side is gonna be often a little more tender, because we favor it, we don't use it as much. And just let the toes of the feet fall over that half roll. Good. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the heel. There's a lot of ways we can use this little half roll. What we're doing today is we're doing some basic. I'm showing you the simplest way, and the way that doesn't require a lot of thinking. Good. And do you notice a difference in your 2 sides?
Totally, but my tenderness is in my right side.
Is it really? Interesting.
Because my left foot is the problem.
Didn't feel as much.
Yeah.
Okay. let's go to the forward part of the arch. I wonder if that is, I know you say to me that you have a hard time feeling that left side.
Engaging, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's just because it's your non-dominant side. I don't think you actually have like a problem with your nerves.
Good, okay.
Say that?
Yep, no, I agree, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So we're just pumping. Good. Honey, is yours getting, like, as you pump, is it getting a little bit easier at all?
Yeah, it's not the kind of pressure where I can't do it. I just know not to push it too far. And more than anything, it feels like fascia more
Yeah.
so than pain. It's just
Good.
the pulling of the skin that's very activating.
Yeah. Okay, now go to the back end of the arch. Yeah, what you start to realize and learn is when you're getting soft tissue work, or you're doing foam rolling, or you're doing these yamana foot wakers, is you start to be able to discern the difference in sickly tissue versus healthy hydrated tissue. There's a different feeling. Sickly tissue feels like it's beef jerky. It feels like it doesn't have a lot of bounce. It feels like it's tender. It feels like it's just lifeless. It has less life. And so you'll start to discern that. And then you'll be able to direct your attention more towards those areas to get life and vital flow back to those areas. Okay, stop that. Let's go feet are even. We're going to go up and down through the balls of the feet. We're just going to, what we're doing is I'm going up into a heel raise hand. So I'm going like this.
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, you can hold on if you want. And what I'm doing is I'm just flushing all that work through the foot, all the way up to the ball. Okay, now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you take your first foot, your left foot, and we're going to go ahead and rotate the ankle. And what you're asking the ankle to do is find the full expanse of its rotation. So one of the things that happens with our bodies is we start to get smaller in our ranges, change directions. Now, when you keep getting smaller in your range, you start to literally like not feed routes of nerves. It's like having a neighborhood. Okay, stop there and rest. It's like having a neighborhood that doesn't get any maintenance. Can you imagine how the weeds would grow? And eventually, have you ever guys seen those pictures of those houses, like 50 years in, no maintenance, and literally the weeds and the trees consume the house. You can't even see the house anymore. So if you go in a range and you're not like really intentionally trying to get your full range, over time you will literally lose that range, because those nerves that control that range, they die back, and you don't even have access to it. So it's important to look down at your foot, get full range. Okay, let's switch sides. We did both directions on that side. So now you're at your dominant foot, I'm at my non-dominant foot. So I have to really look to make sure that my foot's being honest, because if I just feel it, I will lose range. I will miss range. So I look down at my foot to make sure it's really going through the range, change directions. Also, you see people go really fast, and that's not, you're going to lose range. You're going to miss cut corners if you go too fast. Couple more. Okay, now I'm going to switch sides. On this one, I'm going to have you pull your toes up towards you the whole time you're rotating. So when you go in the pointed position or the flex position, you're pulling your two toes up. Your pinky toe, your thumb toe, all those toes will get pulled up. Sometimes you'll get a cramp, so just be aware of that you can back off and stop. Good. So this is making the front of the foot, the shin muscles, all those toe muscles work hard. Change directions, toes are up. Good. Couple more. Okay, switch sides, toes up. I really have to look at my left foot because it really wants to go on vacation in certain ranges. Change directions, so about 5 to 10 apiece. Okay, stop there. Now here's the hard one. I'm going to do the opposite with the toes. I'm going to pull the toes down and flex down towards my heel. Big flash warning, your foot may cramp. So just back off if it does. You want to try and keep those toes pulled down through the whole range. Good. What happens is if your bottom of your foot cramps, it's only going to do that a few times. Like after practicing this a bit, it won't do that. Change directions. And that sort of shows you that the pathways have cleared. Like the routes of delivery of resources are cleared up and are available. And that's a really healthy indication. Okay, switch feet. So flex the foot down and make a big circle. Look down at your non-dominant leg or both legs. You should be watching with your eyes if you can. Ooh, that really wants to cramp. I have to sort of back off a little bit. And then I'm going to change directions. Now, we're going to do just a few more. Okay, right there, good. Okay, let's go ahead and stand even. And I'm just going to dive down through the knees now. So this, you're going to hit your limit on that left side, and that's okay. So I'm just going to dive down, because what that does is it clears the ankle as well. Now I'm going to stay down, and I'm going to shift right to the left. We take everything in 3 dimensions. Good. Okay, now I'm going to stay down, and I'm going to rotate. My ankle just popped. Those pops you get through your foot, they're good. Okay, come on off of there. Very good. Okay, let me just look at my notes real quick. Okay, so that is a real basic little foot workout on the yamana, and then what to do after the yamana. What I want to go over next time is a little more advanced on the yamana, and then adding another exercise to that for people to see. Any questions, sweetie?
No, I love it. It seems so simple, but it's so incredibly effective, and really pay heed to what Lisa's saying, because if you push too hard the first time, you might be sore the next day. And, you know, it's a little different with the other 3D dynamic stuff, because what I've noticed through the years of working with it is when we're doing stuff in the different planes of motion with the body, typically you won't be sore. This particular one, I feel soreness with the next day if I push it a little too hard, but not with the other 3D dynamic movement. So
interesting. Good. That's really good information. Yeah. You can if you push too hard, you can bruise yourself too. Part of it is that those tissues of the foot are so dry that they don't have any give, so they don't have any place to go when you're pushing up into them. So yeah, be kind and gentle. It's much better to err on being able to do this more often than to go too hard.
Keep it sustainable. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, sustainable. But I got to tell you that I don't like to suggest a lot of equipment. Like in general, as a trainer, I prefer no equipment and very little equipment, because I want the body to have to do its thing by itself. And also what my whole point of helping people with their bodies is for them to live their life better. And in real life, they're not in a machine going in one plane, isolated plane. They're moving dynamically. In fact, like even the idea of doing weights with equal weights is really not that authentic, because when you're out and about, you got grocery bags, they're never equal, right? You got your child in one hand, you've got the keys in the other, never equal. So what was my point there? I like to stay authentic, and I don't really like a lot of equipment. So if I'm going to suggest a piece of equipment, it means it's really good. These Yamana balls, they're really good. They come in twos. By the way, I don't get commission on these. They come in twos. They're not cheap, but what I would love to see you do is buy the two, sell the other one to your friend. And then you get half price, right? Yeah. So this piece of equipment, super simple, anybody can do. I have a client that her husband's in his 80s. He can hardly walk, and he's got those swollen feet, those swollen ankles. He can't feel his feet, that neuropathy. This is amazing stuff for plantar fasciitis, for neuropathy, for hip pain, for back pain. It's really effective for all of that. And it's so healthy because your foot is the first in the of your body. With that right there, is the first pump in the gene of your body. And if it's dumb, stuck, and weak, it's literally not creating a pumping action, so that your lymph is not going through your body properly, and we're stagnated. The whole point, or one of the points, there's a lot of points, of three-dimensional dynamic movement is creating flow of vital forces, getting the good stuff in, bad stuff out, and moving the trash out. We don't want to be sitting in our sewage because that's what creates disease. What creates sickness is sitting in our trash, in our emissions. So that's one reason why I personally don't believe the masks, because I don't want to breathe in my refuse. I want to expel it, and that's how we're meant to be. It's really the same thing with the body and the movement. If we're not doing this kind of movement, we're not getting rid of our trash.
Yes. And again, it seems so simple with the foot, but what she just said, this is so good if you're having back problems or shoulder problems or neck problems or hip problems. We don't think to address the foot, and this is the foundation. So again, like Lisa said, everything we do is going to get you to really focus and look at the sources. We don't band-aid shit. And something this simple, just doing this for a few minutes every day, her clients all the time, they're like, ugh. And then over just a few tries, they're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
This is changing so much. So simplicity, efficacy. And then all you need to do is effort and implementation. And then watch the results. And of course, awareness. What's going on with your neck? Try this. Watch your neck.
Right. And everything that we suggest pretty much across the board, this is why we're pretty much married, is that what we do in one place affects everything else. Like you do one thing, it has a global effect. It's very rare that either of us in our respective modalities is going to do, we're going to do something that is so isolated that it doesn't have an effect. It usually has a very big ripple effect.
Yep.
And so, yeah.
And also meaning like we're going to work on the body and that's going to affect you spiritually. We're going to work on you spiritually and that's going to affect you mentally. We're going to work on you mentally. That's going to affect your body. Like everything that we do affects all the different parts of your reality. And then you come into this space of being more aware, more activated within this vessel. That energetic keeps rippling out into the masses. So it's all about you. You're the center of the universe. All of these things are about what's going to benefit you, which is always going to benefit everybody else.
I love that, hon. I love what we get to do for people.
Me too.
So fun.
Thank you. I'm so glad to do that too, because guess what? I need to take my own advice, my girls' advice. Like I want to be doing that more often. AJ's doing it every day. I'm going to be doing that every day too, because this is my foundation. This is one of the biggest areas that I have problems. And we made extreme progress with my body, extreme progress.
Yeah.
But it's a good reminder, you know?
Yeah. Good. Well, and keep it someplace that is right there. So you don't have to go get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It goes in my little gym bag. And today Liam had it. I didn't know. I was panicking before we got on. I'm like, it's gone. Oh, it was upstairs in his room, like underneath the bed in the corner. So yeah, get all the boys on it and know where it's at, put it in the gym bag and then implement. Huge key to progress, right?
I love it.
Thank you so much. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, any comments, anything that you would like to ask of Lisa, especially if you have other things that are going on, you're welcome to comment here wherever you're seeing this video and say, hey, what about this? My left pinky, you know, like, or, you know, we want to at some point work on AJ's elbow. Like there are things that will likely be going on for you. We really encourage you to reach out and talk to us about it, because if it's happening for you, likely it's happening for a whole bunch of other people, and we've got solutions that we want to give. So don't hesitate to reach out, ask, and give us feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Mwah. We'll be back.